Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Day video. It's the 2nd of August today, so I'm going to do my August Bitcoin market update video. This is specifically about kind of Bitcoin, but a lot of what I'm talking about can be sort of like correlated to the larger kind of crypto market. So let's jump straight in and see what's been happening for the last month or so. And as always, this is not financial advice, this is just my ideas about what might happen over the next month or two. So if we look at a slightly larger picture here, this is the initial kind of breakdown in February, and then we bounced around for many months within this kind of like bear flag, and then finally beginning of June we broke down from this kind of bear flag, went down to the 200-week moving average, bounced around there for a little bit, and we actually then took a month to then come down for a second lower low. So we came down to here. Normally that would be the kind of bottom, but it didn't come down quite as much as I anticipated, and we bounced around a little bit and then had another small leg down here, not a huge amount lower than we were kind of previously, but it took a month to take this next lower low. And then when I recorded previous month's video, I think we were just out kind of here, so we were, it was around 2nd or 3rd of July, so we were just bouncing from this initial kind of low back towards a 200-week moving average. And I said in that last video, I drew something very much like this. I said I thought we would be probably over the next couple of months moving sideways, but kind of sort of sideways, but sort of bouncing around. I drew this a little bit lower. I think it was somewhat down there, but then we had this initial kind of bounce, and it went a little bit higher than I thought. I thought the 200-week moving average might well be acting as a slightly more resistance for slightly kind of longer, but let's just move that up a little bit to take into account what the price has done over the last month. So 200-week moving average is very much been acting as a magnet. We've been below it and we've gone back to it, we've gone above, we've gone back to it, and we've bounced around a little bit above it, but generally around about this 200-week moving average. In the last few days we've come back below it for a couple of daily closes below it, and potentially today will be a third daily close below it. But it seems very much like a magnet. It seems like we want to kind of go back up and touch it again, and if we go above, I imagine it will come back. So my sort of prediction from last month of and this was the beginning of July, obviously, of 2 to 3 months of sideways kind of chop and then another leg lower is sort of intact as far as I'm concerned. We're a month into that now, so now I would be saying probably a month to 2 months of sideways chop. This takes us through to the 1st of October here, and then another leg down. And what I am anticipating, this is the 50k level here, which is one of my target prices for Bitcoin. This is one I set right back at the end of last year. But I think we basically bounce around within this kind of channel, or channel similar to this, around the 200-week moving average for the next 6 to 8 weeks. 6 weeks would take us sort of like to about here, and then we'd be looking for that next kind of like leg down. Now that could come a little bit earlier. There's no reason why it can't happen. Maybe end of August, you know, early September. But my sort of base case would be end of September through to the end of kind of October. At some point around that we will have another leg down. I think we come back down probably to the 55, maybe a fraction below that kind of level, and I think that will start the kind of bottoming process. I would love to see 50k hit in terms of my own personal kind of purchases and stuff like that. And of course, you know, external factors. Let's see what happens with the stock market. You know, we could bounce around, come down, sit there, and then right at the end of the year or beginning of next year we could have like a, you know, a dump in the kind of stock market that could then reflect in the price, and we might take another leg low, and we might go back down from sort of what might be 50, 55k down to 40, 45k. So always be aware of other things happening. But I think my most likely kind of case at the moment is we bounce around this kind of like 200-week moving average, which will be gradually kind of moving up. If we stay in this kind of range for the next 6 to 8 weeks, we potentially could go as high as 70 before kind of coming back down, but we might kind of come, you know, a little bit kind of narrower than the range, but still kind of break down. I think the chance of us breaking upwards dramatically is very low at the moment. We may well creep up along with the 200-week moving average, but I don't think we'll see a big spike to the upside. Even if something like the Clarity Act is passed or something like that, we might get an initial kind of bump, but I think we come back and have another leg lower. And I think that will, as I mentioned before, I think that will then start that kind of the end of the kind of like, you know, the bottoming kind of process for this kind of bear market. We may then move sideways around that kind of whatever level that comes down to, whether it's 55 or 50 or 52, whatever it is. We might bounce around again in a sideways kind of bound there, but then don't take another leg lower. by the end of the year I want to be entirely back in my crypto positions and out of stable coins, and then we start the sort of like, you know, the next bull run and the next sort of 3 years of kind of like slow drag, or 2 years of slow drag back up to previous highs, above previous highs, and then look at that kind of topping in 3 years time. So that's my sort of predictions for what will happen. I'm always interested to hear other people's ideas as well. So do let me know in the comments below what you think will happen. Do you think the bottom's in? A lot of people do. A lot of people think that that sort of 60 odd K mark, which is around kind of here, was the kind of bottom. This was just, you know, a few days kind of going below it, going down to sort of 57, 58. But a lot of people think that sort of 60-ish level maybe the low for this cycle. I don't think it is. I think we go a little bit lower. If you are, you know, waiting on the sidelines, waiting to deploy capital, I don't think there's anything wrong with dollar cost averaging in from sort of now. I started my DCA in Bitcoin in July, I think it was. So I'm 4 or 5 weeks into that kind of now. So I started when we took this leg down. A couple of my initial kind of levels got hit, and then my DCA, which runs through to I think the end of October. I have some of my capital as a DCA. Is deploying throughout that kind of period. So, you know, from my point of view, if we have a leg down kind of sooner, that's better for me. You know, I'm buying more at a slightly cheaper rate, but I'm happy to dollar cost average in here in case we don't get much of a break below it. I have some levels set lower than our current prices. I have some set at 55, at 50, at 45. I'm not convinced we're going to go that low, and in which case that money I will dollar cost average if we haven't hit anything like that by December. But that's my ideas what we're gonna what's gonna happen. As I said, really interested to hear your ideas as well. Please let me know in the comments below. I hope you're all doing really well. Thanks very much for watching. As always, if you give me a thumbs up, that would be great. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.